Hello there. Happy Monday. I hope you are well and had a wonderful weekend and a great start to your week. I know in many parts of the country, we're not having the best of weather today. And I was very sorry to see that we're having another named hurricane. So I know it's been rough from a weather perspective. And today is Mindset Monday, where I always like to talk and bring in topics related to our mindset and how important that is, because while there is so much stress we're under in this tumultuous year, how we approach that and have our, how we react is so critical. And so we'll talk a little bit about mindset, specifically growth mindset today. So do you believe that you can change a fixed mindset into a growth mindset? Maybe you've seen people that just don't seem to have the right attitude about their work, their growth and development. And maybe they tend to bring other people down, they tend to be negative, or they make excuses for not accomplishing their goals, or they tend to give up easily. Now, it's definitely, natural to have some of these feelings sometimes, right? We all can feel that. I know a few weeks back, I talked about the imposter syndrome, where you can kind of beat yourself up, think you're not good enough. But when it becomes your overall mindset that you are having this fixed mindset, is what we'll talk about, that can definitely be trouble. So welcome to Connector Dots. These are brief, candid insights for healthcare, pharmacy, and life for connectors and pharmovators. Today, during Mindset Monday, we're going to explore the differences between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. I'm your host, Kimber Boothe. I'm a pharmacist, healthcare leader, and entrepreneur. I'm a strategic pharmacy coach and consultant, and I help pharmacists to advocate for roles and resources to advance practice and have joyful, engaging careers. So again, a few weeks ago, I did talk about mindset and how you can make mindset a habit. And the definition of mindset that I like the most is it's a habitual or characteristic mental state that determines how you will interpret and respond to situations. So why that's important is, again, the key word for me is it's habitual, a habit, right? And you can have good habits and you can have bad habits. But if you practice a good positive growth mindset, that can become your habit and your natural then way of responding to situations. So, of course, mastering mindset is really critical, and that they say attitude is everything, and mastering your mindset then is critical to your success and joy, because it's really the foundation. And one of my favorite quotes on this topic is, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. Henry Ford said that. And how important is that? So the great news is, and there's plenty of research to back this up. And of course, my goal today is not to share every single research study with you, just to talk about this topic. But the great news is that this really can be changed. You don't need some special skills or a specific charismatic personality to decide to think differently. In this day of stress and burnout, mindset is just so critical. I have definitely felt this myself, and I know when I started doing these connector dots, I've opened up and shared. And again, I don't expect that you, if you're joining me today live or listening to this recording, that you've heard all of my connector dots. But I do encourage you to go to my website, kimberbooth.com, sign up for my emails, and then you will have access to a portal where I do save all these. They're searchable, downloadable transcripts where you can get quick bites and not have to scroll through your social media all the time. So, and you can also join the Pharmovator community, where you will also see these posted. So I'll talk to you more about that later. But anyways, in this time, definitely stress and burnout have been an issue. And it's important, though, that we try to find ways to thrive and get beyond that. And the baseline mindset is so critical. I've also talked about the importance of joy in work and the Institute for Healthcare Improvement, positive methods for approaching joy in the workplace. But getting back to this growth mindset, which, I do think about mindset as just, again, going back to the definition, is that fixed habitual state. And it can be a lot of negative different things, or it could be a lot of positive. It's not just I don't think of mindset as just like one state of being. It's different things. And so growth versus fixed mindset is definitely one type of mindset that I like to think about. And the main person who has researched this topic is Carol Dweck, and she has a book called Mindset: The New Psychology of Success. And she does say that mindset reveals how great parents, teachers, managers, and athletes can put this idea to use and foster outstanding accomplishment. So what she has done, and she's been a big researcher in this area, is she has shown in taking all different groups of people, students, young and old, adults, and people, and studied if they had a baseline fixed mindset, which we'll get to the details of what that is, and compared to a growth mindset, she, with teaching the habitual habit, positive habit building of getting to a growth mindset, people who had a fixed mindset were able to develop a growth mindset and have better outcomes in the long run. So the answer to the question that I asked before is, can you change your mindset? Absolutely. So somebody with a fixed mindset, what's the difference between fixed and growth, right? I mean, it kind of sounds like it makes sense, right? Fixed is like stuck in the mud, like set, like doesn't move, growth, positive growth. And that's definitely, I think they're definitely good terms, and they give off kind of what the topic is. But we'll talk through some of the specific responses to specific types of behaviors or challenges that are presenting. So if somebody with a fixed mindset, they're definitely, again, they are fixed. They believe their abilities are fixed. So they feel that their intelligence is static and their abilities are fixed. Like they're kind of like, this is what they have, no kind of expectation for the future. And this can actually tend to make them desire to look smart in things, but not actually try. So they'll try to not take on challenges because they don't want to look stupid, is what they feel like in their mind. Whereas the big difference with somebody with a growth mindset is they definitely believe their abilities can be developed, almost limitless potentially, and that your intelligence can be developed. So therefore, they tend to want to learn and have a tendency to embrace challenges. The other things to consider the difference is that when approached with an obstacle, somebody with a fixed mindset tends to give up easily, where somebody with a growth mindset persists. They kind of have that grit to continue. The next is effort. So somebody with a fixed mindset tends to see putting in effort as fruitless and not valuable. Whereas somebody with growth mindset tends to see that as their path to mastery. When looking at the success of others, somebody with a fixed mindset tends to feel threatened by the success of others. And don't get me wrong, again, I definitely feel like I have a growth mindset, but I have times feeling jealous, threatened, and not thinking about my own performance. So I do understand that. Again, this is not meant to be a one-time thing. This is that habit. Are you in this habitual mindset that anybody's performance, anytime, that if you feel like it is better than yours, that it caused you to feel threatened? Well, then you might have more of a fixed mindset. If you, on the other hand, find lessons and inspiration and excitement by seeing the success of others and that setting a goal to reach that or maybe even exceed it, that's like a growth mindset. So the ending result is that somebody with a fixed mindset tends to plateau early and unfortunately achieve less than their full potential. Whereas somebody with that growth mindset tends to reach those higher and higher levels of achievement. So can you see the difference? Do you see this in your home or work life? Maybe even how your children approach challenges, or maybe even how your own team members receive criticism. Well, I definitely do. I see it differently with my 3 kids. Many of you know I have a 9-year-old and 2 7-year-old twins, and they're doing virtual school these days with some support from a babysitter. But they each, it's so interesting then to see how they respond to challenges. Some, one of them really loves to go forward, and one, it's almost like she shuts down a little bit when she doesn't get things right, and it can kind of discourage her. Sometimes because they're twins, I do need to separate them because of some of that reaction. So I'm definitely trying to support this in my home life, but definitely with the teams that I've worked with. But I know I can do a better job at this and support this with some focused attention. So that's what I wanted to cover today. I hope that you are in the group where you do feel like you have a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. But this is where we can help our team members to overcome this. It can almost happen at any stage of life, but the earlier we support our kids, our colleagues, people in school with mentoring, we can help people overcome and have a more positive growth mindset. And again, the key is it's a habit, right? You can build this as a habit. You're not stuck with this type of a mindset. And I think this is so critical, even this day and age with the discussion of disparities in the world, in our country especially, that we can overcome by supporting positive growth mindset. So thanks for joining me today on Connector Dots. Please join me for these future Connector Dots and join the free Pharmovator group. It's a new community for pharmacy innovators at facebook.com/groups/Pharmovator. These videos get posted there, and ongoing discussion will be happening in that community. So be bold, be a connector, advance healthcare and pharmacy practice. And please stay tuned this week for a big news about the Connector Life podcast that I have been hosting and the joint efforts with the Pharmacy Podcast Network. That will be coming on Thursday. So thanks again. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.